Today we're going to talk about a common homestead issue, which is eggs. The problem is, of course, depending upon the number of chickens that you have, you can get more eggs than what you eat in a day, and actually more eggs than what's probably healthy to eat in a day, just because of the cholesterol and so on. So, we haven't put our chickens in yet, but my wife's sister, she's one of these chicken enthusiasts. She has like 8 or 10 different species and varieties, things with plumes and everything. So we get all sorts of weird eggs, as well as the common eggs. And she's always putting eggs over, but as you can see, I simply cannot do them. And then we also get these eggs, which are date stamped from the local free range egg place. So the other day I went out and I bought 2 dozen eggs to cook for the week to do my recipes, and then the next day she brings me these. So we need to preserve these, and there's a lot of different methods. There's one where you put them in a liquid with salt. But I wanted something that was going to allow us to reuse the majority of the material, the preservative. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine 2 methods and see how they last over a year. And each month I'll crack open an egg and we'll test it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to, those, I don't know, she's little quail eggs. What are you supposed to do with the friggin', how can you make an omelet with that? Come on. Boil the sucker, peel it, I guess, I don't know. So what we're going to do is preserve these using 2 methods combined. One method works really well if you live in the United States and you buy store-bought eggs, because they're washed. And washed eggs, you can't really tell. In here you can really tell. You can see the color banding. When an egg is laid, it has a film that dries over it. And it's to conserve, to not allow a lot of oxygen to get into that egg while it incubates. Oxygen equals deterioration. So the more oxygen that gets in, the faster the egg will rot, in all honesty. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is, because I know there's people in the States, and if you just did the first method by packing, they're still going to rot because you still got oxygen getting in there. So what we're going to do, let me get the stuff. Now, one method, especially if you have washed eggs, is to coat them liberally with some kind of vegetable oil. Of course, I'm my extra virgin olive oil. And basically what you do is you coat the egg very well in vegetable oil. And be careful, it makes the egg slippery, and of course slippery eggs means that they'll jump out and fall to the floor and break or whatever. So we want to avoid that. Like right there. And what we're going to do for this experiment is we're going to do 12 eggs. And the rest I'll be using in my baking. We have Easter coming up, and I was wondering what I could do. I mean, most of our nieces and nephews and stuff, they're like in their 20s now. So I was thinking of, we don't do the Easter egg hunt and so on. We don't have the small kids, but they still come over and visit for Easter, and we make them a little Easter basket with different useful stuff in it. And so, oh, and German crates come in 10s, not 12s. And that's why you see me doing an extra 2 eggs here. Because the German, European eggs, most of them, unless they're shipping them to the States, they don't wash them. They're taken, they're did a slight brush or whatever, and put into the crates and shipped to the stores. The same as what you'd do with regular eggs. Like here, you'll notice I still got a little egg poopy on the egg, a little cheeky poopy. So these are the best way to preserve them. But if you're buying them commercially in the States to stockpile or whatever, and you need to preserve them for a long time out of the refrigerator, cook them really well, and then you could literally just pack them in a cool, dry spot, and they'll last for about 4 to 6 months. But we're going to try to see if we can make these last a year. And that's why we're doing 12 eggs, 1 for each month. So once that's done, let me get to the next part. Because this is the crucial part that will allow it to, hopefully, because this is an experiment, hopefully allow them to last longer than the average 6-month preservation time without putting them into a saltwater solution or whatever that really messes their taste up. So let me get this put away and we'll get on to the next part. All right, the second part to this that we're going to do is this is like one of those little potato carrot things that allows ventilation through the top. And we're just going to open this up. This is what's called Strausalz, street salt. Hey. And basically the Germans mix it 1 part to 2 parts with sand, and they spread it over their walkways and so on within margin, because even they understand you don't want to put a lot of salt out on the streets and stuff, but they still do it. So the thing is, this is the same stuff that we used to buy similar when we used to do the hand cranked ice cream machines, to put it in with the ice on the outside. To, well, you're probably, if you don't know what a hand cranked ice cream machine is, no need for me to explain it to you. But this has particles of rock and other stuff in it that this is not eating salt, and so it's really cheap. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put a layer in here. And if you look here, you can see all the rock and stuff in there. But once again, this is fine, because once we use the eggs, we can use this again. So it's a reusable preservative resource. And what I'm hoping to do in this experiment is, by first, they have the natural egg layer. Then I've coated it with oil. Hopefully this will keep the salt from pulling too much moisture out and seeping in to make the eggs taste drier and a bit more saltier than if I just packed it in the salt. And then we're just going to carefully, because they are slippery, and I'm leaving a little bit of space between them so that that salt can get in there. Because I want them to be nice and evenly packed with the salt. I should have gotten a bigger container. I thought this was going to be big enough, but whoa, see, one just went bonkers on me. we'll have to work on that one in a minute. You don't want to pick this up and drop it, you'll crack your eggs. But, see, look at that. That's just hard mineral in there. And that's why I said this is not good salt for eating. You do not want to use this as a table salt. I mean, I could dissolve it and then use the liquid, which has the majority of the salt in it, like a salt water, and use that to put over stuff. But as a dry ingredient, you don't want to use it this way. And we're just going to pack this little guy right here. He'll be our first test subject. And there we go. Now this is mid-May. So the 1st of March we'll pull that top one off and check it after 2 weeks. And then that way we start it on the 1st. So this is, I think this is May. So we'll pull this off on the 1st of June, the top one, and go from there and see how they work. And I will update this each month. So I will. This will be in the DIY section, but it'll be parts one of 12, 2 of 12, or 1 of 13, 2 of 13, and we'll run down each month testing an egg. All right, this is going to go in a cool, dry spot because we don't want it pulling moisture or anything. So I'll probably put this just down in our cold or root cellar. You could, like, I don't know, put it underneath a cupboard or a shelf, somewhere that it's dark and cool. So there we go, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks on this one for part 2 of 13.